Hi, here's a quick video on how to fix broken references in your SOLIDWORKS files. So we'll start by using the example of the mini vise that's found on our course Moodle page. If you go to the digital handouts, scroll down a little bit and you'll see there's a file that's a zip file called mini vise solution. If you right click on that and say save link as, that'll download that to your downloads folder on your computer. In my case, I've already got it, so we'll probably get a pop-up message saying, do you want to replace that one? And I'll say yes. Then go to that file, that zipped file that should be at the top of your downloads folder now. You want to right click on that to extract all the data, and it will also, usually by default, also open that folder for you, and that's where we'll find the parts that will be our examples today. We'll focus initially on the one called the crank knob, so go ahead and open that by double clicking on it. That should launch your SOLIDWORKS. There'll be a message that pops up about open external reference documents. In my case, I'm just going to say open all the reference documents. You can say only open those that have changed. Really won't matter for this exercise. So here we see what the object is that has broken references. We know they're broken because we see, looking at both the sketch and the feature in this case, there's that arrow pointing to a question mark that says there's something being referenced that the software can't find. It's not preventing the creation of the model because the sketch is still there. I can click on the sketch, you see it on the screen, but it has relations or other issues with it where those relations or other items are being aligned with or being referenced by, or they, I should say, are referencing other artifacts that the SOLIDWORKS software cannot find or does not know what those are. Okay, so how do we debug this issue? Because sometimes this will make your life hard if you want to go and start editing this design and it's based on something that the software can't find. So the first thing we'll do is we'll just look at editing the editing the sketch itself. So we right click on the sketch. In this case, the pop-up menu appears. We can then go to edit sketch, click that. The other way to do this, of course, is to highlight the sketch you want to edit, go to the sketch tab and click on the sketch button. In both cases, it opens up the sketch. We see the sketch. It looks nice. We can, play with moving the dimensions around a little bit to see it better, to be more clear about what's all what. Sometimes that's helpful. Sometimes it's not. In this case, it's not really that helpful. It doesn't show us any glaring errors. The next thing to do is highlight that sketch that you were editing and go to Add Relation under the Sketch tab. Do the down arrow and say Display/Delete Relations. This will show you on the left side of the screen the property manager for all the relations. We can see one is this collinear one has a broken reference, and then there's two coincident ones, 13 and 15. If you highlight one of the ones that's the issue, it will show that relation in purple on the screen. So if we look, you can see right now 13 is there, 19 is this corner up here. Of course it changes the color, but there it is. Okay, and which one didn't I do? 15 looks like it's something else that's not there because it's not highlighting a specific relation. We could look at it in more detail, but honestly, the fastest way to resolve these types of issues, once you've clicked and seen sort of where they are, is just to right click and say delete. Let's get rid of that broken reference. Let's get rid of this broken reference if you're not super clear as to what the cause is. In this case, I don't really care that much about what the cause is. I just know I need to get rid of that and now go back. And at this point, let's look at that sketch again. We can see the sketch is underdefined because we just deleted 3 references. Now, if I don't like looking at that picture of the revolve when I was playing with this, I'll go back to that for a second. One of the things you can do is hide that revolve, and you do that by, one, you could suppress it and then go and edit the sketch, and it'll be fine. You won't have that in the background. The other way is to use the show hide capability or visibility capability built into the heads-up toolbar. But in this case, this is fine. Now, the other thing that we need to do now is fully define this sketch. So how do we do that? Well, that's quite easy. That's no different than what we've done before. We could look at the sketch, we could see what moves. So if I just happen to click on this, you can see it moves, because remember there was an issue with this relation here and another one, I think, with the ones down at the bottom. So maybe I just need to put in a smart dimension that goes from this reference line to here. If I give that, and that was probably 0.1125 originally. If I wasn't sure what it should be, I could have done the undo button to stop where I had moved it back and forth. That would have solved that issue for me. So now I've fixed that position. I can try moving other lines, seeing what will drag, what won't. Oops, I'm still doing dimensions, so let's get rid of that. Turn that button off. The whole thing goes up and down. Now that's usually an indication that if the shape is holding its shape, but the object is moving, I probably just need to reference its distance to the origin. So in this case, I will move this back, and then I'm going to go and do a smart dimension to the origin. So I get out of this line properties. I highlight where the origin is. There's the origin location. Looks like they've got a user-defined origin in this case, so, but that's fine. We'll use it. Maybe I'll just go to this reference line and see if that's in there. And so there's 0.52. Well, I don't know if that's what it's supposed to be, but we'll assume it is right now. As soon as I did that, that helped fix this part a little bit. Okay. Now the next thing I could do is do the same kind of thing from the origin to that same corner, maybe down here, and do it as a vertical distance. And that looks good. And when I do that, now I've fixed that shape in place, because I said how far is it to the right of the origin and how far is it above. We can now see that we have a fully defined sketch. So that looks good. Let's rebuild. And if you want, you can save as well. But we still have a broken reference there. Usually when that's the case, and you've solved any issues with relations by doing edit sketch, the next thing to do is look at edit sketch plane. Sometimes the sketch planes were referenced from an assembly or something else, and sure enough, this sketch plane is missing. So I clear what was in there, and I go and align this. Since it's a revolve, it almost doesn't matter which sketch plane I use, but I'll just say the front one because I know that was my orientation that I was looking at. I say OK. And then when I do that, notice now that all the broken references are gone. And so now I can go back, I can save this part, and again, because this is an older version, I have to update it. And now unsuppress that revolve, and now I have that same part I had before, same dimensions, but without any issues with respect to reference and reference relations. So that's a quick little 10-minute overview on how to fix broken relations.